Welcome to the Wally Show Aftercast, all the stuff we did not get to during the course of the show today. Betty Rock got off on this thing today, kind of trying to figure me out. For some reason, I don't know what was the start of it on Enneagram, which if you don't know Enneagram, it's like a personality test like Myers-Briggs, and it got really trendy a while ago. I still think it was really good at describing me. Like, I've tried Myers-Briggs and DISC and things like that. I'm like, okay, yeah, kind of. But Enneagram seemed to nail it. And I know there are some people that are like, it's of the devil because it looks like a star, or it's from past evil things. I don't subscribe to that. I don't believe that. And so don't bother emailing me because I'm not going to respond back. But I do think that it was a real good way of like understanding who you are quickly and pretty, for me, accurately. Do you remember why you started this conversation today?
Because I was listening to a podcast and it was about Annie F. Downs.
Oh, yeah.
And she was sharing about how she is an Enneagram 7. And there were so many things that she was saying that reminded me of you.
As a 7, because I've said I'm an 8 for a long time.
Right, but I thought, well, he can't be anything of a 7 if he's a 2 because 7 is nowhere close to 2.
Right.
So I thought, well, maybe he is an 8 and he's just got a wing 7. So that's what got me started.
Explain
on this.
8 and wing 7 a little bit.
Okay, so
You have a main number.
right. So there's 1 through 9, and I can never figure out if Wally was either a 2 or an 8. A 2 is the helper, and an 8 is the challenger.
Because I'm very helpful. Like, I will drop
Very.
things to go help people. I will insert myself into situations
where he's not needed.
Exactly. And so that's what a 2 does a
Right.
little bit. But I'm an 8, which is typically more aggressive, more justice-oriented and things like that.
Yes.
And so why would I ever exhibit characteristics of a 2?
Right. So it turns out that, and we've known this before, but an Enneagram 8, when they're in a healthy frame of mind, they go to a 2.
Right.
So they'll turn healthy. The problem is, and I think we've talked about this before, is I think Marty sees you a lot as the 2.
Right.
She probably sees glimpses of the 8 for sure.
Yeah.
But I would say it's the opposite for me and Gavin here at work. We probably see your 8 more.
Probably.
And then your 2 comes out sporadically like it would for Marty with your
Right.
8.
Right.
Anyways, so I went to ChatGPT and I said, because I couldn't figure it out. I was like, are you an 8 or are you a 2? I said, explain the difference between an Enneagram 8 and an Enneagram 2. And how can you tell the difference? And it said pretty much what it comes down to is your core desire.
Yes. Okay.
So I read the core desire for an 8 and the core desire for a 2 and asked Wally, which of these really resonates with you? The Enneagram 8, its core desire is to be independent and protect themselves, whereas the core desire for Enneagram 2 is to be loved and needed.
Yeah. Like, I want to be independent and feared. Is my 8 side.
Yeah. And so then I went to, what is your core fear? Well, for an Enneagram 8, your core fear is being controlled, harmed, or vulnerable. And for an Enneagram 2, your core fear is being unwanted or unloved.
Yeah. And see, this is where, like, in the Enneagram, so, like, say you're an 8, you go, okay, I'm an 8. But then you're like, also, boy, that 7 stuff sounds pretty similar too. And that's where the wing comes in. Like, whatever your main number is, if it's an 8, you have a 9 and a 7 on either side of you. And you can have, you can exhibit characteristics of either one of those, both of those. And it's just different degrees of that. And so your wing can be strong or weak.
Right. And I think that Wally is an Enneagram 8, wing 7, with a dash of ADHD.
Yeah, and wing 7s are like, or 7s are like too, like the kind of the fun person as well.
They are. They're very fun people. They're the person you want to call if you decide on the spur of the moment you want to go and do this thing.
Yeah.
They're the person you want to call.
Absolutely.
They don't live in the negative. They don't like the negative. They will put it on the back burner and live in the positive, to the point where you've heard, like I heard this with Candace Owens with her Blake Lively, toxic positivity.
Yes.
And it's weird how you would think, wait a minute, how can Wally be positively toxic? It's when he swings into his 7, it's almost like you see this wing 7 when we talk about serious things on the air, and he'll always have to end it with a joke.
Right.
Because he can't live in that negative. It makes him uncomfortable. That's the thing for the 7. The 7 doesn't like. The 7 will say the inappropriate joke at the wrong time to lighten the mood.
Yeah.
But when I was listening to Annie F. Downs, as she was talking about her being I think she's a 7 wing 8.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah.
So with her, though, she said that her best conversations that she has are when she's walking. She said there's something about her Enneagram 7-ness to where her brain cannot stay in the negative. If you ask her what she feels, she can't tell you. She doesn't deal with feelings. Feelings get in the way for her.
Right.
But she can tell you what she thinks.
Yes.
And like, I can see this too with your dad. Like, you know, when Marty, your wife, is like, don't you ever get sad about like your dad passing away and all this? You've said it. You're like, it makes me sad, but I don't live in it.
I don't live in it. I don't let it own me. I don't think
sevens
about
can
it.
put it on the back burner.
Right.
Where I don't think, like she says she's a 9.
Yeah.
9s can't do that.
She cannot. She thinks about stuff with her losing her parents, and she's like, I think about the other day we were talking, and she hit me with something kind of out of the blue, and I'm like, so, you know, like you're talking about you lost your mom, your dad, and your brother, and that's a lot, obviously, and then different times, and so to me, I'm like, okay, I don't remember the days that people have passed away. I don't celebrate those. I don't commemorate those. They're just another day to me. And she couldn't understand that, just like I couldn't understand her being sad. But then I'm like, so you think about this a lot? She's like, all the time. Like it's always on my mind. It's always prevalent. And I'm like, but are you good? She's like, not really. I'm like, oh, all right.
But speaking as a 9, I can see where she's coming from, because as a 9, 9s love comfort.
Yeah.
9s love peace.
Yes.
And she probably got a lot of comfort, a lot of peace from her parents.
Sure, for sure she did. Yeah.
And she got probably a lot of, I don't know if she would have said she got peace from her brother, but she got comfort from that relationship.
Yeah, and she loved it. I think she struggles with that. Like something good happened, and she was like, I have no one on my side of the family to tell. Right. And then she struggles with that. You know?
I get that. Also, too, I found out something about the Enneagram 7 that I thought was interesting, because you've got a past with this, is they said the Enneagram that is most likely to fall into addiction is a 7.
Is it really? Well, I guess so, yeah, because if you like...
Because they can't tolerate the negative, and they need something to take them out of it.
And you're always trying to be the fun one, too.
Right. But really, deep down inside, you're just not dealing with the pain.
Sure, that's healthy.
So then I looked at unhealthy 8s. What do they look like, okay? So an unhealthy 8, they become controlling, confrontational, and domineering.
Done.
They say, if I don't take charge, everything will fall apart, and people will walk all over me.
Not having that.
They struggle to trust anyone. They assume others are out to manipulate or betray them.
They obviously are against me.
They view vulnerability as a threat, so they armor up and push people away emotionally.
Yeah, before you can get me.
They use intimidation to protect themselves. Instead of inspiring respect, they might provoke fear.
Yes, you will fear me.
And they become aggressive and vindictive if hurt. They say, I'll hurt you before you hurt me.
Or I'll hurt you worse than you hurt me. Yeah.
So then 8s, when they go under stress and they're unhealthy, they go into a 5. And Gavin and I have definitely seen this. A 5 is the investigator. Okay, so but you take on the unhealthy qualities of a 5.
Yeah.
So you get stuck in overanalyzing or obsessively researching.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I do that so much.
You hoard knowledge as power.
Yep.
And you become secretive and suspicious. Basically, trust no one. Yeah. I'll just handle everything myself in silence.
Absolutely.
But I would say you don't fit the in silence part. You will be very vocal about how
I am vocal about things, but I also do things behind the scenes. Like there were times where like my old boss from years ago would go to tell me something, and I would tell him what was going on. He's like, how do you know this? Because I'm like, there was a problem, there was things, and I was good at getting information so that I could protect myself and have the upper hand. Yeah. That is
interesting.
Fascinating.
So I also put into Chat GPT. I said, what does an Enneagram 8 with a wing 7 and ADHD look like? And it said, ooh, okay. That's a whole bold, fiery whirlwind of energy, charisma, and just try and stop me vibes.
Love it.
And it said they're driven by desire to be in control of their own destiny. They're energetic. That's their wing 7. They're more extroverted and adventurous, risk-taking.
Yep.
They combines the 8's intensity with the 7's enthusiasm for more, better, now.
Sounds like a perfect person.
Their slogan is, they're the ones who say, let's burn it down and build something better by noon.
Absolutely. I love that. That's really, really accurate. See, that's why I like the Enneagram, because in plain language, I mean, it is nailing me on all of those fronts. Now, we're not spending any time talking about my 2 when I'm in health, but whatever.
Well, we barely see it.
Yeah, let's not highlight any of that stuff. Let's just talk about all the ways
I see
he's
the
bad.
2 in you, especially like when we travel. Like I don't have to worry about my luggage. You put it up on the thing without me even asking. You're always like, for instance, when we go on the compassion trips and stuff, you're kind of become the mother hen.
I do, yeah. I try to protect you.
You do this with everyone.
I do, yeah.
You make sure that everyone gets through the line. You'll be the leader, and you'll say, "Oh, they're with me. They're good. They're good." And you'll take everyone under your wing and make sure everyone's comfortable, everyone's good. The bad thing about that, though, is you put your needs on the back burner.
Right.
And we see that too when you don't drink any water and you're going to faint and be in a hospital in a third world country.
It's interesting though. You talk about that, like the 2 comes out then. And that's when that's a healthy thing, and that's a healthy place for me.
Right.
Like in Africa.
When you go on these trips.
Yeah, I mean, it's a healthy place for me because all of the things that drive me nuts are backburnered. They're gone. I don't think about them. I have one job to do, and it's to tell this story well and make sure that everybody comes back okay. And it's like, and I love that.
Think this is helpful, especially like for the future. When you think about when you're done with radio, what is it that you want to do? You come alive when you help people. Like you help Paul, your friend Paul, with the shower up thing. Like you were doing all the laundry and stuff and getting people's stories and stuff. I
love that.
You love helping.
Do you have a gut answer? Like right here, right now, like what do you want to do?
No, I don't. Like I know there's things I want to do, and that's
you have
like
great ideas.
I want to consult radio for other talent and teach them what I've learned and what I've been taught. And
if Compassion ever did like a radio branch or something, that you'd be great at that.
Thank you. I do appreciate that more than you know. Like they've talked to me about like doing like story gathering and stuff for them, which is what I would love to do. And I would have
need
to
to
do
drink
that.
water.
I know,
and eat like a normal person.
I know. I would have to do that in my retirement.
Betty.
Because I couldn't do it to work full time with because it's not enough money. But if I'm doing it in retirement because I love it and I'm just getting a little bit just to offset some costs that I have, then that'd be great. So yeah. Now, Gavin, you brought up a question that I thought was really interesting.
Oh yeah.
Oh, good. I'm glad you remembered.
Yeah,
I thought for sure you knew.
No, I do.
I wanted to hear everybody's. Give me the question. I'll answer it first, but then I want to hear Betty's because she started answering and I stopped her in between songs. I don't want to hear it till now.
Yeah, because we were talking about the personality stuff, and for you, I ruled out that like I think your favorite part of your personality is your work ethic.
Right.
At least that's something that you are really, really proud of.
I really thought about this too over the weekend for some reason. I don't know why, but they're like. The idea of like, because we were talking about Gen X working differently than Gen Z and stuff. And I was thinking, why do I take so much pride in my work ethic? And it was like, because it A, defines me and who I am and the kind of work that I'll do. And B, I think it was really as a tribute to my dad. My dad instilled that in me. And it's almost like, I want to keep that going.
And we also talked about this when it's tied to ADHD, because when it comes to ADHD, you don't feel like you lack focus on a lot of things, and you feel like this is something you can actually be good at.
Yeah.
And so you really thrive on
and
that.
And it's for yourself. Like you're not proud of your work ethic because other people tell you that you have a great work ethic.
Yeah.
You are doing it because it's who you are. But then I was asking, again, beyond that, what are you, when it comes to your personality, what are you most proud of yourself for?
Yeah.
And you answered the question first.
Yeah, for me, loyalty. Like for me, I'm fiercely loyal to the people that I love in my life, and I'll take a bullet for them. And that is something that I'm proud of, because there's so many fair weather friends and things like that, and it's like I'll go to the mat for people, So that's something I'm proud of. So I'm curious with Betty, how would you answer that question?
I would think, well, it's a pro and a con because it's gotten me in trouble, but it comes back to my Enneagram 9. Is the peacemaker. Yeah. And I saw this full throttle this weekend too with a conversation with a friend. I can see both sides.
Yeah.
You're
so
good at that.
It's never black and white for me. There's something about, now of course, like we're not putting Hitler on the thing. Like
I don't know. She's like, well,
I don't see his side in that. But I'm saying about disputes between.
That's great.
Well, I don't know what the potties are thinking. But what I'm saying is that like. I am not the friend to come to if you want to be justified for your actions.
Yeah.
I can't help you with that. Now, Wally could.
Sure.
Wally could tell you, yeah, you are definitely it. And two, what's great, because
It's a service I offer to my friends. Like
Right.
Betty Rock. If Betty Rock hates someone, I'm like, who are we hating?
Yeah,
I'll
you-
hate him too.
you don't even need a
That's
reason.
The loyalty.
You're
I
just
don't.
ready to go.
I've never even met him, and I'm like, let's torch it.
Whereas with me,
But
whereas
and
with me,
you are
I
good
don't.
at that, though.
I don't. I'm not good at that. Like I'm not that person to come to. And I
Right.
think sometimes I have friends that'll come to me and want to be justified for their actions. And most of the time, I'll say, I see why you did that. However, this is why that person's probably doing what they did.
Is that a 9 thing? Like
Yeah.
truth speaking? Because
truth? I don't. Is
like
that,
speaking
is that
truth to a
considered
friend.
truth?
Like yeah. Like if a friend comes to you and they're looking to be
spiritual
validated,
gift.
but you're telling them truth, is that a 9 thing? Because my wife is that way too. Like my wife doesn't take any garbage from me. Like she will tell me you're being stupid right now. I'm like, well, you could phrase that
'Cause that
differently.
is very
I get that at
valuable.
work.
Well, I think too, it's also like you say, you see that. I think you only do that with certain friends.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't do that with someone that I
Yeah.
barely know because I
Right.
don't feel like I have that relationship with them.
That's
But
fair.
if it was with you or Gavin or my friends or whoever, then I would. And also too, I think Marty and I know that with you, when it comes to an 8, which is something, this is something me and Gavin don't get at all, is with an 8, you love confrontation. To you, it seems like it's a relationship
Sparring.
builder.
Right.
Like you're getting really into the tough meat of it.
Right.
And whereas with other people that don't like confrontation, it seems like it's a separator of a
Right.
relationship. Whereas you see it as pulling things together.
Right. Yeah. Because once you work through it, you're
But
great.
also too, with you, and I've learned this with another friend of mine, that when it comes to being an 8, you just tell them like it is. They don't like you beating around the bush.
Right,
Now there
right.
are friends in my life where I need to beat around the bush
Sure.
and be like, okay, well, I see where you're coming from.
Right.
But with you, I would be
Right.
like, no, that's really stupid. That's
Right.
really dumb. And you would want to say, well, why? And I'll be like, well, because of this, 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 and this. Oh,
Right.
okay.
Right.
But
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just a different language.
Mm.
So I would say I like that I can see both perspectives, but it can get hard at times because you
Yeah.
can't make a decision.
Sure. And like for me, like whenever I come in, there are times when I present things to you guys because I'm like, okay, this is a situation. Like how, like, shit, is it right that I feel this way? Is it like, do you see their side of the opinion? And you do a good job of doing that because, at least for me, and this is where I may be different from you in this situation. Is like I don't always think I'm right.
Yeah, see, I love that. That was backhanded. I may be a little different from you in this situation where I don't always think
always
I'm
think
right.
you're right.
Lack of
100%.
confidence. Lack
Yeah.
of confidence.
Yeah, I'm very confident in my decisions, and even when I'm wrong, I'm gonna keep
Sure.
pretending I'm right until I'm exposed and like, okay, I'm really
'Cause
wrong
I think
on
I'm
this.
wrong most of the
And
time.
then one more thing I would say is I do like that I am, and this is once again pro and con. I like that I'm independent.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It comes with being an only child from the very beginning. I learned it, but even as
And living
now
on your
almost,
own.
at almost 40, and now never being married, you just learn to be independent. But I think that that's good because I have seen some friends of mine who can't be
Yeah.
alone and they can't function, and then they'll just settle for things.
I know
And
someone that's Yeah,
I don't
know
wanna
someone
be
that's
that
been
way.
in relationship after relationship after relationship,
Yeah.
and never given themselves time to grieve one that ended, and they're right back in the next one, and then they just all keep failing.
I was like, I want to be with that person that actually enjoys my own company.
Yeah,
Like that, it's okay.
yeah.
So-
And it's weird because like I hate my own company, and so
That's your 7.
yeah.
Now, what do you? Well, you probably don't know. Gavin, did you say what you thought you were on the
Not-
Enneagram?
I don't know.
He can't figure it out.
It's never mattered too much to me.
I think you're a 9 wing 1,
Okay,
where you're a peacemaker,
cool.
and I'm a peacemaker.
Yeah.
But I think where we differ is I have the wing 8, and you probably see the wing 8 in me. Oh, I know you do. You see the wing 8 in
I've
me
seen
more
your
than
8.
anybody else
Yeah.
in my life.
Yeah.
Because I don't show it as much. I don't need to show it as
Right.
much outside of this work environment.
Right.
But I would say with Gavin,
What's the one?
Perfectionist.
Yeah, the perfectionist. But you're the coworker who is always kind, keeps things running smoothly, and gently corrects typos. The friend who diffuses tension in the group chat with a calm voice and a helpful link. Okay, but also too, I think sometimes you will have that. You can do both wings, but you definitely have that anger in you because we see it, but you don't vocalize it.
No.
Whereas I vocalize mine, but only here. So I think you're a 9.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, no, when it comes to anger, it's like I just
You don't feel justified.
I don't often feel justified,
and
but
that's
also
me too.
like it just doesn't feel like something that it's more productive for me to feel that anger and let it just like be expressed on my own than it is to be expressed
And that's a
around
classic
people.
That's a classic wing 9.
Is
well,
it?
that's a 9. Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out too. There was this thing that I had seen years ago, and I wanted to get it right. That's why I'm paying attention. But basically, they said if you can't figure out your wing, typically you are a blank or a blank. And I can't remember if it was a 4 or a 6, something like that.
When it comes to your wing, not the
Or, I'm sorry,
real?
your
Oh, okay.
Enneagram number. They're like, if you can't figure out your Enneagram number, most people then are a blank or a blank.
I always thought that you guys threw out 6 for me
Yeah.
back at the beginning.
Yeah, because you
but I don't
tend
remember.
to be that
I still
way.
don't know what that means or what it is.
A 6 is
Isn't it fearful?
the loyalist.
It's loyal and
You're
fearful.
very loyal, but you're very you think of the worst case scenario and prepare
I do.
in
Yeah.
advance.
Yeah.
And so you could be.
Which is always interesting to me because the way that I've always operated in life is that I'm just not. I don't ever feel like I am just like one really big thing when it comes to like how my personality works. And like when, my answer to the question about what I'm proud of is that I do and am capable of meeting a lot of people where they're at and being like empathetic when it comes to, let's say, youth group. Like I can talk to the jocks
Right.
that are always taller than me.
Yeah.
Sports, like I can go heavy on sports. I can be the sports bro. I can be the anime kid as well because
Right.
that's something that I watched and still love watching.
You're a chameleon.
I love my, cartoons, and I could watch golf for like 10 hours
Right.
on Saturday. I will be doing that. It's the Masters week. That's all. That's my whole weekend right there. But I like being able to identify with everybody.
Is it any wonder that pathetic isn't empathetic? That's what I see. That's what empathy is.
Let me
is
move
pathetic.
on from that because that's a classic. It's a classic 8 comment there. Also,
laughing on the
remember
face.
remember this too, Wally. Remember we said this a while back that Enneagram 8s gravitate to Enneagram 9s.
Yeah, that's. I'm like
you
you and
remember
my
that?
wife are
Yeah.
like the most.
Is Marty a 9?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's the same as me. I think she's a Enneagram 9 wing 8.
The 2 women in my life that I spend the most time with and the most that I know the most about are both you and Marty, and you're both 9s. It's interesting.
I hope I'm not a 9 then.
Well, I mean, a healthy. Let's see if this works out for Marty. Healthy 9 wing 8, calm yet firm.
Yeah.
You do it. You're good at that.
Steady,
Sometimes.
confident, and deeply loyal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can mediate with strength, the classic cool head in a crisis.
Yeah.
You're good
she's
at that.
Sets boundaries without feeling guilty.
Yeah, you love doing that. Like you are a wall builder.
The struggles of a 9 wing
good way.
8.
Yeah.
Might stonewall or withdraw when overwhelmed.
Oh, for
That's
sure.
me.
That's
Ding,
both of
ding.
you guys.
Can be stubborn, especially when pushed.
Oh,
yes.
good Lord,
I
that's
don't-
you
I
and
don't
my
push
wife.
you.
Might numb out with comfort activities like food,
Puzzles.
shows,
TV
scrolling,
shows. Yeah.
and can repress anger until it explodes.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that is both you and my wife. My wife has got. Actually, both of you have gotten better about this in the years that I've known you. In that you used to hold everything in, and you would bottle it up, and then it was a full blown come apart, and directed at me usually. And I'm like, what are we arguing about here? Remember last year when what? And my wife would do that too. Like she would hold things in a long time and then they would pop. But both of you, I think, have gotten better. And maybe it's just a sign of relationships changing in that you both are better at verbalizing closer to the moment what you think.
Yeah.
And that works better for me too, you know?
Yeah. Also, too, it says the Enneagram 9 wing 8 is the coworker who is easygoing but won't let you steamroll them.
And that's what you used to get steamrolled, and you made a conscious decision to not be steamrolled
Right.
anymore
Yeah.
by people here at work.
And then the parent who creates a cozy home but also runs a tight ship.
Yeah.
That's Marty.
Yeah, it is Marty. That is definitely, she
Also,
controls
too,
me.
it says that a nine wing 1. So I think that's Gavin. It says they're a peaceful monk with a moral code,
Ah,
whereas a 9 wing 8 is like a Zen warrior with snacks and boundaries.
nice. That is you. Your love of food
Interesting.
and boundaries.
Kind of love that.
That's pretty great. What was your story? We won't do my other
Yeah.
one.
Okay. If I had to ask you both, yeah, it's a little depressing anyway.
It's a good one. I'll save it for tomorrow.
If I had to ask you both, what was your top casual dining chain? What would you say?
Oh,
You're talking about go sit down.
Yep. You're going to
top
order,
casual
but it's casual.
chain.
Outback.
Oh.
But
It's a little. It's like it's tough.
I looked at it. That's highfalutin.
Really?
Yeah.
Texas Roadhouse is way fancier.
No!
It's dirtier, obviously.
Texas
but
Roadhouse
it's
used to let you
better.
put peanuts on the floor. Now
Yeah.
they don't do that
I know.
anymore. They give
usually.
you.
I think it tastes better.
Yeah.
It's just the only Texas Roadhouse near us.
Yeah.
Is
It's cheaper, though.
60 minutes. It's so far away.
Yeah. See, I have one right
Outback
around
is,
near me.
I love Outback. It's
Outback is great.
Not-
Texas Roadhouse is mine, though.
Yeah.
Well, the number one top casual dining chain since 2018 has been Olive Garden.
Oh, but they lost their minds. They lost their minds.
What did they do?
They started charging you $1 billion for things and then not making breadsticks awesome.
Like $20 pasta meals.
Yeah,
Get out.
it's
of here.
crazy. They
word.
and they're just reheating garbage at the place.
Wow.
It's not even like that
Okay.
great. And then
Tell us how you
their
really
breadsticks have gotten horrible.
Yeah,
Well,
they're
they-
not special. Their
they have
gnocchi
nine-
soup is bad.
Ugh. They have 902 locations across the world.
That's 901 too many.
But
That
they
feels like
have
not as many as
they
I
have
would
been replaced in the number one category now is Texas
yes,
Roadhouse.
rightfully
call.
so.
At number one with their cinnamon butter, so good.
Oh.
They saw a 14.7% increase in sales. They have 722 locations. And if you're wondering, well, what followed them? Well, Olive Garden is still in the top running, but they're not in the top. Texas Roadhouse.
Yep.
But Chili's,
Yeah, I do
Applebee's,
Chili's a lot.
which
who goes to
shocks me.
Applebee's anymore?
Yeah, and then Buffalo Wild Wings.
Applebee's only because of Nate Bargatze and Rhett Walker. They're hardly around anymore.
Yeah.
And then what was the last one again?
Buffalo Wild Wings.
B-dubs is just too expensive. B-dubs is
I
what
love
the
me
cool
some
kids
B-dubs.
call it. But it's too much
Yeah.
money for wings, man. When you're spending $18 for like 8 wings or something, it's like,
Yeah.
that's nuts.
Well, the largest boosts in sales were Texas Roadhouse, Chili's, and Longhorn Steakhouse.
Yeah, I love Longhorn. Longhorn is
I don't know if I've ever eaten at a Longhorn.
Longhorn, I think, is better than Outback. So, like, I'll do Roadhouse when it's fast and like I want to save a little bit. But Longhorn is my choice.
Longhorn is good.
Longhorn is good. But then they stopped. Wild West
What?
shrimp. I get Wild West shrimp there without the cherry tomato thing or the spicy tomatoes. It's my favorite, and I would always get it with tartar sauce. And then most of the ones I've been to lately don't have tartar sauce anymore, so I can't get it.
Oh,
And it was so
heaven
good.
forbid.
I don't get it. I'm
Well,
like, not
you-
gonna get me.
Well, you might be wondering who saw the largest decreases in sales. Outback Steakhouse saw a decrease.
Yeah, their
Gavin,
bread's
you
good,
need to
though.
go more often. Red Robin, the one near us, shut down.
Yeah.
I've only eaten there maybe twice in the last 10 years.
I eat there every once in a
was
while. My
good.
wife doesn't like it a lot. I like it. The bottomless fries. I always get onion strings there, and then I get
Those
like
are
their teriyaki burger. It's
Yeah.
fire.
And then finally, Red Lobster.
Red Lobster's hanging
it
on
dumb?
by a tentacle. Like they
claw?
they are about to go
Well,
under. They've already a lot
they
of
were
them gone
bankrupt.
bankrupt, but I love them.
Well, they say that what caused them to go like really bad
know
because they
this.
saw the largest drop of negative 22.7%. It was their endless shrimp
yeah,
deal.
all you can eat shrimp.
They saw tremendous loss in that.
They got bought by another company, and they did this all-you-can-eat shrimp deal. And the company, like the CEO, is like, "That's what's killing us. We're not doing that again. We're going bankrupt because of this." I'm like, I don't think so. I think you had other problems before the endless shrimp deal that you ran for like a month.
I think it was their customers were dying off.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you went in there, it was the old folks' home.
For sure. And they like Olive Garden, they got more expensive. Like you used to go there and get a massive plate of like popcorn shrimp for $7.99 with the biscuits, with the drink, with the it was great. It was a great deal. And now it's like everything else. It's $16.
I bet with the pickier. This is just my guess. Is that you're going to have a pickier generation moving forward with my generation, and this is just me. I feel like there are more people in my age range that just do not like seafood.
Yeah.
And so I'm not surprised
They're
to
allergic.
see a seafood. No,
Weak.
a seafood place. It's disgusting. It tastes like
It isn't
salt
good.
and
Yeah, I don't
bug.
like it either.
You eat catfish.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
it's
not seafood.
Yeah, that's not. It's barely
Pond,
food.
pond
That's
food.
pretty
Pond
bad.
food, yeah, I'd like some pond food. That'd be great, a pond food restaurant, and it was algae and like. That's your
Frog
salad
legs.
is algae and the
Frog
frog
legs.
tadpole
Turtles.
bites, pond food.
Ew.
There's your title. All right, I think that's gonna have to do it unless you have a birthday.
No, I don't.
All right, well that's gonna have to do it for our Aftercast today. And as always, thanks for being a potty.
Growing up in poverty has never been easy for children, but with the added challenges of the pandemic, conflict, and natural disasters, families around the world are facing an unprecedented food crisis. Unfortunately, those who are already hungry are now even more desperate. But by sponsoring a child through compassion, you can help provide life-sustaining essentials such as food and clean water. And with your compassionate support, that child can not only survive, but also flourish. You can find out how and choose a child to sponsor when you click on the compassion banner at wayfm.com.